something to talk to followers.
When your brother is producing something and you patronizing your brother.
Listen to Planet 101.1 FM News at 7 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. with our news in special English at 2:30 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. Planet Radio 101.1 FM, revolving around you.
In the news at noon, President Muhammadu Buhari presides over a security meeting at Presidential Villa Abuja. Akwa Ibom State Police Command advocates tripartite participation of government, security personnel, and people in fight against crime. Musicians charged to creatively Africanize jazz music as world marks Jazz Day today. On the foreign scene, 44 persons die in Israel pilgrimage site stampede. In sports, Vandreza FC returns to the Nigerian National League NNL after initially pulling out midway through the season. Details coming up shortly. Good afternoon, welcome to the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM. I am Bright James. We begin the news this afternoon with the reports that President Muhammadu Buhari is currently presiding over a security meeting at the Presidential Villa Abuja. In attendance are Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Secretary to the Government of the Federation Boss Mustafa, Minister of Defense retired Major General Bashir Magashi, and National Security Advisor retired Major General Babagana Mongudu. Others are Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Rabo, Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu, Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Oladayo Amau, and the Acting Inspector General Police Usman Baba. Still on security, the Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru has reiterated the commitment of the Nigerian Army in crushing Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast. Briefing journalists in Borno State, the Army Chief said his mission to the 7th Division Maimalari Cantonment, Operation Lafayette Dole in Maiduguri, was to visit the injured soldiers.
Constant touch with troops and their commanders in the field is of essence for every military operation, especially in a counterinsurgency environment. The essence is to reassure the troops, get to hear from them if they do have issues they want us to discuss. It could border on logistics, it could border on deployment, and then reassure them that Mr. President is aware of all they are doing here, and he will do his best to provide the needed resources to execute this war to a logical conclusion. This indeed is not just this theater, any other theater the Nigerian Army is operating in. That is why this constant visit to the theater.
While noting that the troops remain committed to tackling other security challenges such as banditry and kidnapping, among other crimes bedeviling some parts of the country, Atahiru said that there is no way troops would always claim victory over their enemies, as sometimes the opposite is the direction.
Well, in a military operation is a duel. We have defeated Boko Haram severally. If for one time they came and we lose certain equipments, even though we were never defeated, I can assure you that we'll overcome, notwithstanding whatever had happened. We will take on Boko Haram decisively, and we are committed to the focus of the entire operation, which is the total annihilation of Boko Haram from Nigeria.
Back here, the Akwa Ibom State Police Command has emphasized the need for the tripartite participation of the government, security personnel, the people in the fight against crime in the state. The State Police Public Relations Officer SP Odiko McDon, who said this during an interview, noted that the government has provided an enabling environment for the people, hence the need for the citizens to be involved in protecting themselves, while the security agencies and personnel should ensure that they provide immediate security to everyone. According to him, the state government The State Police Command and other law enforcement agencies are not resting on their oars as they are working tirelessly in curtailing the activities of criminals who are out to mar the good image of the state. The state PPRO therefore advised citizens and residents to be receptive to security ideas and strategies of government and be driven by a passion for securing the community. He expressed delight with the cooperation the Nigerian police has received from the public through provision of useful information and serving as watchdogs in their immediate environment. While stating that the command has achieved impressive feat by the contributions of the good people of Akwa Ibom State, MacDon called for more assistance, vehicles, and factual information to aid the command in its operations, while stressing that the Commissioner of Police is knowledgeable and is committed towards protecting lives and property of Akwa Ibom people. Away from that, the Akwa Ibom State Head of Civil Service, Elder Effiong Essien, has disclosed that payments to retired primary school teachers and their next of kin have commenced, with successful payments to next of kin as at the time of this report pegged at 97 persons, while over 67 living retired primary school teachers have so far received arrears of their gratuities as well. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Planet News, Elder Essien said government also had to consider persons whose cases were quite there for speedy payment and appeal with the people to continually show understanding with government as it works towards actualizing its promises on the payment of gratuities to beneficiaries.
We have started payment. The first batch of the payment is ongoing. As we speak, 97 of the next of kin have received entitlement of their late parents. And over 67 of the living retired primary school teachers have received arrears of their gratuities. And even the government had to consider the vulnerable group and selected those that you can see the incapacitation and show sensitivity to their case. Government has also selected these ones irrespective of the year that they retired and paid.
He, however, addressed the protest held on Monday by a next of kin of retired primary school teachers and their widows close to the government house as unlawful, saying government may not tolerate such next time. The head of the civil service was of the view that protests must be done in an orderly manner, irrespective of the grievances.
Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Forum of Retired Primary School Teachers, they were all part of the verification exercise that have recently been concluded. On conclusion of that exercise, we processed payment for these people and announced that payment will start on that same day that they gathered. So before people even entered office to make the payment, they were already on the street. So that's why I say it was uncalled for. And the leadership of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, the leadership of the Forum of Retired Primary School Teachers, the NLC, they were not aware of these people. And any lawful protest, government has to be given notice. But this one, there was no notice for such gathering. And they were gathering at a security area of government. Government may not take that kind of unlawful gathering lightly any other time.
Our correspondent Xavier Roberts reports that according to the HOS, so far about 1,838 next of kin and 5,296 living and retired primary school teachers have been verified for payment of their entitlements. In a separate development, a visually impaired ex-military officer, Young Thomas, from Itaudran, in Oran local government area, who said he was discharged from the army after being injured in the battlefield, has called on authorities of the Nigerian army and the federal government to pay his full entitlements to enable him cater for his family and handle his deteriorating health condition. Young, who spoke with our correspondent Anthonyson at his hometown, Itaudran, recalled how he and other officers fought tirelessly to maintain the unity and integrity of the nation during the Civil War. Young said he and other wounded soldiers were treated at various army health clinics after sustaining the injury that eventually made him blind, adding that they were later discharged when they could not fully recover from the injuries.
I entered into the army in the year 1968 in the month of April. So I got wounded in 1969. I was brought to Wari. For the unity and integrity of the nation. I command a platoon of soldiers with 100 soldiers. I was treated and then gave me a chance to work at the casualty department. So the doctor tried again. He could not even. They sent me to Oshudi. There I was treated there.
The ex-army man who said he's been receiving only 25% of his entitlement ever since he was laid off from the army is appealing for upward review of the payment.
They discharged us from the army. After they discharged us from the army, well, we were, then the doctor gave me 1/4 salary from that time. Then General Basenjo, after looking again in 1999, Obasanjo made man of the salary in that area because of my sickness. So I can number my full salary. So that full salary became in yen.
In another news, as well, Jazz Day is commemorated today. Musicians have been charged to creatively Africanize jazz music. The genre must ever be seen as a musical tool that can address societal ills and engender positive change in the Nigerian experience. It has also been established that the influence of jazz in Nigeria on addressing societal problems may only be feasible in the books, as youth are not interested in the music genre due to its low commerciality in the country. Speaking of Planet News, veteran sound engineer and musician Billy Bayanak noted that only few exposed Nigerians and youths consider jazz interesting and hence leaves it at a disadvantaged place in terms of its significance in the country.
It is only in the books that people talk about the Jazz Day in Nigeria. There are no symposiums, no conferences, nothing is being done for people to be aware. I don't believe there is so much significance. And when you come about the influences of jazz in Nigeria, it is only people who travel out, who watch jazz musicians live, who can even have a glimpse of what jazz is all about. And very few youth today are listening to jazz. And many of them are always inclining to commercial music. You know, jazz music is not that commercial.
According to the music professional, a music genre can also influence societal problems positively if its presence is felt and there is a visibility for it. He said the only saving grace for jazz is if musicians in the country can be creative enough to Africanize the genre in such a way that it appeals better to the sensibility of people back home.
Jazz in Nigeria has lost its value. Only very few enthusiasts, especially very good instrumentalists, who are still talking about jazz and trying to do the best they can do to express themselves. Because of lack of creativity from most of those instrumentalists, they cannot fuse the native music into jazz. And talking about the way jazz can transform our society, I believe nothing. So far, the people are not playing jazz. Because for you to influence the society, you must have appearances, performances, symposium, and conferences. So far, those things are not happening. Nobody's sponsoring jazz. Nobody wants to invest into a thing that will not give them greater reward. I think jazz will never have any influence in the Nigerian society.
International Jazz Day, declared by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization in 2011, is set aside to highlight jazz and its diplomatic role of uniting people in all corners of the globe. You're listening to the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM. Let's take a breather, then bring more stories from the foreign, sports and entertainment scenes. To stay with us.
So my son, welcome to the Kalangolo Shrine. The gods are with us. What can I do for you?
Baba, the witch do me and I even sick self. I think say him give me HIV.
Eh? No.
What do you mean, Baba?
No way anybody fit use witch give you HIV. If anybody tell you that one, na lie them talk. Because witch no fit give person HIV.
No matter how the wind strong, nobody fit give or carry HIV from witchcraft.
Thanks for staying with us. Now on the foreign scene, a massive stampede at a densely packed Jewish pilgrimage site killed at least 44 people in northern Israel, blackening the country's largest COVID-19 era gathering. The nighttime disaster struck in Meron at the site of the reputed tomb of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a 2nd century Talmudic sage, where mainly ultra-Orthodox Jews flocked to mark the Lag BaOmer holiday. Closed last year due to coronavirus restrictions, this year's pilgrimage was expected to be a celebratory event in a nation that has largely reopened thanks to a successful vaccination effort. Still on the foreign scene, officials in Delhi have been urged to find more sites for cremations. The city's morgues and crematoriums are overwhelmed by masses of COVID-19 deaths. A second wave of the virus is ravaging parts of India, with 386,452 new cases reported on Thursday, the biggest one-day increase on record for any country. There were another 3,500 deaths nationwide on Thursday, and nearly 400 in Delhi, a record for the capital. The total number of infections in the country is now past 18 million. In sports, Vandreza FC have returned to the Nigerian National League (NNL) after initially pulling out midway through the season. The Lagos-based side announced their return to the NNL in a statement published on their website after a meeting between the club and the league body in Abuja. The statement said both sides agreed to put behind past differences and seek avenues to work together. Vandreza had, in a statement on April 15th, announced their decision to quit the league, citing unfair treatment by the NNL as one of the reasons they opted out. Still in sports, Barcelona captain Lionel Messi told the club he will remain beyond the season. Messi tried to leave last summer and now into the final weeks of his current deal. The 33-year-old's future remained up in the air, while Manchester City and PSG were both linked to the Argentine. Messi's father, Jorge, who also acts as his agent, has flown into Spain to discuss his son's future with club president Joan Laporta. Barcelona ended last season without a trophy, but Ronald Koeman won his first trophy at the helm as he lifted the Copa del Rey earlier this month. Now on the entertainment scene, American singer Selena Gomez is attached to lead the cast of the psychological thriller Spiral from director Petra Collins. Selena made her name as a Disney star with a role on the TV series Wizards of Waverly Place, and says she will always be grateful for her background because it taught her the importance of being a good role model. It has been the news on Planet Radio 101.1 FM. But before we go, a recap of the major stories. In the news, we told you that President Muhammadu Buhari is currently presiding over a security meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The Akwa Ibom State Police Command has emphasized the need for the tripartite participation of the government, security personnel, the people, in the fight against crime in the state. As World Jazz Day is commemorated today, musicians have been charged to creatively Africanize jazz music if the genre must ever be seen as a musical tool that can address societal ills and engender positive change in the Nigerian experience. On the foreign scene, we told you that a massive stampede at a densely packed Jewish pilgrimage site killed at least 44 people in northern Israel, blackening the country's largest COVID-19 era gathering. And in sport, we reported that Vandreza FC have returned to the Nigerian National League after initially pulling out midway through the season. For a comment and coverage of newsworthy events, call our newsroom on 0812 770 2940. That is 0812 770 2940. Visit our website on planet11fm.ng and follow us on Twitter at planet_101fm. Also like our verified Facebook page at planet101fm Uyo. The news was edited by Jane Owa. But before we end the news, always remember that all progress takes place outside the comfort zone. So make that move now. I am am Bright James. Good afternoon. Thank you for listening.
This is Planet Radio 101.1 FM Uyo.